Hey, besties and bosses. Happy Tuesday. How's everyone's week going? How is everyone doing and coping with all that is going on in the world? I know it is affecting everyone so differently. We're all in different parts of the world. So as you're watching live or watching on the replay, say hi. Let us know where you're chiming in from. Let us know how you're doing. And as we're going through this, particularly right now, always, I would love to hear your reflections, your questions. If there's anything I can answer to help support you to navigate your business so you can so you can build, grow, and scale a business that's profitable and that you love. But particularly right now, I want to make sure that I am here as a resource for all of you. So if you have questions around what we're talking about, please feel free to drop them in so that we can chat about it. And if you have other questions, I have a thread in the Facebook group as well that I'll make sure I bump up. I'll hop on live later this week to answer some of the more general questions all of you have been having around business mindset, navigating these times. So today, let me just make sure this is actually going live because the interwebs, I think everyone and their brother and sister and mother and everyone has been, is that live? We're live, have been on the interwebs because we can't go out. So it has been, I don't know if any of you have been experiencing this, but I found technology has been a little slower to cooperate. For those of you who use Zoom for client calls, give yourself a little extra time. It has definitely been, that has been in particular a little slower. But today, what I wanted to chat about and have a conversation around are 3 of the biggest mistakes I'm noticing in sales with entrepreneurs right now. They are things I notice overall in the when we talk about sales, particularly for all of you, if you're here, if you're hanging out with me, I know that selling with heart, I call it heart-centered sales, selling from a place of service and from a place of heart is particularly important for my people. And so we're going to have a conversation about that and how to make sure during this time you are selling with heart and just some of the mistakes that I'm seeing. What I think for all of us, what we're noticing right now and what I've been chatting with clients about, just what I'm seeing is, over the last few weeks, we went through first kind of navigating this is happening, this is what's going on in the world, to then kind of being right in the middle of it in the last 2 weeks. And I think just getting overwhelmed and inundated with information. And I think as business owners, at least last week, so much of the conversation was how do we adapt? How do we pivot? How do we navigate this? And is it even okay to sell? And I think then since then, as things have continued to shift and we're kind of starting to navigate to the temporary new normal, what I think is coming up for so many people is more around, okay, so if it's okay to sell and if, I am one of the lucky people who can operate a business online, how do I go about selling online right now? Because it is noisy and it feels like everyone is throwing offers in your face and it can feel a little like, that fight, flight, or freeze we were talking about last week can come up. So we're going to chat a little bit about managing your mind around this, and then just some of those mistakes so that you can avoid them and not fall into those traps right now, so that you are able to make money from a place of service, from a place of heart, as a heart-centered entrepreneur during this time and always. All right, so what I wanted to, and I just need a sip of water, and say hey if you're on. I always like to know who's on with me. What I wanted to address first and foremost, and then I'll share those 3 mistakes, so to say, that I'm noticing that are really prevalent right now so that you can avoid them. But before we dive into those 3 things, I really wanted to open up the conversation first and foremost with a general idea and concept that comes up around selling and sales that I think is really important to speak to, kind of the elephant in the room. And that is this thought that if you want to sell right now, if you want to be someone who is asking others to invest their money during a time when finances and money, I think, is a concern at a level that it hasn't been recently, and people are thinking about money in different ways. If you're out there as an entrepreneur selling and you're asking people and having the conversation about, now is the time to invest, now is the time to buy my product, buy my service, now is a great time to put some skin in the game to get this result you want. If you have a product or service that can help people and you're selling, which, by the way, I'll make sure I drop the links for last week's lives. I absolutely thank you. If you have a product or service that can help people right now, genuinely and sincerely help people, it is your job to be selling it. People still have problems that need to be solved. People still need help with all sorts of different things, that is still your job to sell. However, if you're going to be in the arena where you're selling, I think it's really important that we're also in the arena buying. What I think is really important always, but particularly right now when we're thinking about keeping the economy going and when we're thinking about our responsibility as business owners, particularly in our industry online, is yes, you got to sell. Like, keep selling, keep selling, keep selling, and keep buying, keep buying, keep buying. And I think something we don't talk enough about in the online space, or I don't think I talk about with clients quite a bit, but I don't think we've talked about it in a live stream, is how important it is from a place of integrity, if you're going to ask people to invest money in your stuff, to make sure you're doing the same thing. What I find to be true is it is really challenging to sell effectively and to overcome objections around money and finances when we're not willing to also invest our money. And what I find is really fascinating when people, come to me on a call and they're having a hard time selling their services and they're like, no one will buy. I don't understand why people won't invest in this high ticket offer. And then they're having a lot of resistance around investing themselves in a high ticket offer. And so I think first and foremost, it's just a great time to check in. If I'm asking people to invest in me and my services, if I'm asking people to invest money, if I'm telling people it's safe to spend money right now, if I'm telling people it's safe to buy right now, am I also walking my talk and doing the same thing? Just a really good thing to check in with. Am I coming from a place of integrity when I'm selling by also being a buyer? This doesn't always mean you have to buy your exact service. I do think we need to buy what we're selling in terms of be completely sold on it and believe in it. And for a lot of us, if you've never invested in what you're selling, I'd be a little curious around that. But it doesn't always mean, you don't always have to invest in the thing you're selling. But I do think if we're going to be out there saying, now's a great time to buy, it's safe to spend your money, buy my product, buy my service, we want to make sure we're in integrity and also doing the same thing and spending our dollars on the things we believe in. This isn't a money mindset conversation around if you spend money, you will make money. I do believe that, but that's almost a whole different conversation. I believe in being in treating our money with respect, but this is a conversation around, if you're asking people to invest money, are you willing to do the same thing? And if not, what's coming up for you there? Because my guess is then if you're having a hard time selling your product or service, whatever's coming up for you around investing yourself is probably the same thing you're getting met with during sales conversations. And it's going to be really hard to overcome that objection and to work through and navigate that if you're not able to come from a place of integrity and say, but look, it is safe. I'm willing to do the same exact thing. Let me know if that's not one of the mistakes I'm seeing, but I think it's just an important conversation for us to have always, always, always. One thing I know, and just use myself as an example, I'm in this situation as well. I've always invested in what I sell. I've always invested in my business at a high level. I invested at a high level before I ever had money to, before it was ever safe for me to. And so it's really easy for me to have that conversation with potential clients and speak to how valuable that was for me to invest in a coach before I had the money. I mean, y'all, the first high, I've been investing in coaches from day one, before I ever made a dime in my business. And I was investing in coaches when, quite honestly, I couldn't afford it. And when I didn't technically have the money and I had to go and get really resourceful and find the money. So it's so much easier for me to have that conversation from a place of integrity with potential clients when I'm talking about the same thing. Let me know if this is resonating. Same when I'm speaking to people around investing, I'm still investing in a high-level coach. I'm paying my team. I'm investing in quite a lot of things, and then in my business, and then personally as well. And so it makes it easier for me to have those conversations and to feel really good and sold in those conversations when I'm having them. And so before we dive into these mistakes, so to say, just an invitation to check in there. And just to check in on the mindset that's coming up around investing yourself and asking people to invest, because that's such a big mindset component. And the more you can manage your mind around that, the more you can create safety for yourself, the more you can navigate your own objections around investing, the easier it's going to be to sell from that place of service and integrity on the other side. Let me know if that's making sense. Let me know if you have questions about that. I know this can be a big one. I know this isn't always the one we want to hear. We don't talk about it enough. I do think it's such a big piece of selling, and it is something I see really get in the way for people in their business. All right, and then we'll dig into these 3 mistakes that I see coming up with money and sales right now, but I really think these are applicable always. All right, let me pull up because I had some notes here. What I will say as we're kind of diving into these mistakes, and I say mistakes loosely, like y'all, you can't mess it up. No one's doing it wrong. But I do think these are things we can avoid if you want to sell more right now and make more money in your business. And I think just kind of underneath all of this, as we're talking through this, last week we were talking so much about managing your mind. I think just a reminder, if any of these feel challenging or triggering or confusing, most of the time with money and with sales, there's a mindset component underneath it. Normal, totally normal, but just always great place to get curious on what is the mind giving you and handing you around this, and to do the work to navigate your mind kind of over here separately so that you can come into your business to sell and make money from more of that neutral, grounded place. There's so much that comes up, I find, for myself and with clients, just around the mindset around that, and generally the mindset and where your mindset is with money and sales is going to be a really big indication of how easily it is for you to sell and receive money. In terms of selling right now, I think something that's just really important to remember is business and sales doesn't change that much. I know that there's a global pandemic going on. We are in the middle of a really challenging time. Assuming that you're healthy and assuming you have a product that people need, that is, coming from integrity, assuming that you have a service that people need, assuming I'm talking about online business owners and service providers who are able to sell right now. The general concepts of business don't actually change all that much, and the concepts of selling don't actually change all that much for us. And I think that's just a really helpful thing to remember, because I think what our brain wants to hand us as we're going through this is that all the rules have changed. Everything has changed. I mean, there's no rules in business, but that just everything has changed, and kind of everything goes out the window, and we have to figure out a new way of operating. And what I'll offer for all of you is, for all of us in the online space, and again, I'm not talking about offline businesses, brick or mortar businesses. I'm not talking about, restaurants and all of that right now. I'm talking particularly about online businesses, my service providers, my heart-centered entrepreneurs, all of you in this group. Business hasn't changed that much. The principles of business, the foundational principles of business are the same, and the foundational principles of selling are the same. And what I teach, heart-centered sales and approaching sales from a place of service and heart and integrity, are the same. That doesn't change. And I just keep reminding yourself that, because the brain is going to keep wanting to tell you everything is different. And I think that is just part of what causes us to react and sell from a place of, I was calling it fearcity, that place of fear and scarcity. And that's where a lot of these mistakes that I'm noticing are popping up from. So first and foremost, just that reminder to keep telling yourself over and over again so that you can manage the mind around it. Most of these mistakes, so to say, what I'm seeing come up around sales right now are really driven by that place of fearcity. I'm going to coin this word, y'all. Fearcity being that fear and scarcity, that kind of combination, and operating business from a place of fear and scarcity. And I think this just goes back to everything we were talking about last week. And if you missed any of those trainings, we talked about creating certainty in uncertain times, and we had 3 days of managing your mind to manage your business right now. I'll make sure we drop links to that and have maybe a link with all of the links. But just such a reminder that we don't want to operate our business from a place of fear or scarcity. That is not what we want driving the ship of our business. We want to be able to drive our business from a place of abundance, from a clear-headed, grounded place where we're coming from a place of service, where we are operating our business from a place of, what do my clients need? What do my customers need? What does my audience need? How can I approach business from this place of abundance and from this place of a service provider, versus what I think is happening kind of across the board is operating business from this mindset in place of fear and scarcity, and that is causing reactions instead of adaptations and responses that are not in service of selling and in service of your business, particularly long term. The first thing I'm really seeing that is just like a loving reminder to all of you that this does not serve your business, that absolutely comes from this place of fearcity, is jumping in and wanting to just sell all the things all the time, every second. It's almost like the pendulum swung the other way, and we went from, is it okay to sell right now, and being worried that it was yucky, icky to sell, from, holy shit, I'm scared, I think no one's ever going to buy again. Someone said it's okay. Kim said it's okay to sell. It's okay to sell, and I need to make money, and this might be my last chance ever. And it's kind of that same mentality that has people stockpiling toilet paper. I wish, I'm in New York City, y'all. I wish you could see the, I can kind of see across the street, the apartment building. One of the apartment buildings across from us, we can literally see in the window, like toilet paper and paper towels, like stacked up halfway through the window. These people are not going to use all of that toilet paper and all of those paper towels like this year. And yeah, that is a response that happens when we're in that fear city place, that fear and scarcity. We're so worried that there's never going to be another resource that we need, that we stockpile and hoard things. Kind of the same like response that has us hoarding is the same response that has us start selling all the time, all the things. The problem with this, and why this is a mistake when it comes to selling, this is the opposite of heart-centered sales. This is the opposite of selling from a place of integrity. This is the opposite of serving your audience. If we think about what business is really about, the whole point of having a business, I know you think it's to like do work you love and to make money, and I talk about that a lot, and it is that, but really and truly, your business doesn't exist to serve you. Your business exists to solve problems and to serve other people. That is what business has always been about. Business is all about, how do we help other people solve their problems and get the things they want and desire? Like breaking business down like to its fundamental. It's not about how much money you can make. It's not about like how much can you love your work. That is a beautiful byproduct, and one of the things I coach clients around, because I want you to do work you love and believe you can make beautiful money doing work you love. However, business at its core isn't about you. It's not even about your business. If people are giving you money in exchange, it's an energy exchange. What is that energy exchange? That energy exchange is all about helping people solve their problem and to get things they want and desire. And just from I always talk about the brain. What makes us buy? If we think about how the brain is wired, it's to avoid pain and seek pleasure. Solve a problem, get something we desire. And so it's really important right now and always that we remember this as business owners. It's not about us, it's about our people. And so when we're in a global pandemic, it's really easy to suddenly forget this and it goes out the window, and to suddenly start selling from this place of fear and scarcity, that fear city, and just start throwing shit everywhere. Let me make this offer. Let me make this offer. Let me make this offer. I don't even know if it's going to help people. I don't even care if it helps people. I just need money because I'm freaking out. Y'all, I say this with so much love. That is not coming from a heart-centered place or a place of service. That's not a way to run your business now or ever. And quite honestly, that's going to do more harm than good long-term when it comes to sales. And this is just like such a great example of how much our mindset and managing our mind like always is important, but particularly right now, because if we're not managing our mind, all of the work we've done goes out the window, and we almost forget those business fundamentals, and we just start wanting to sell things to make money. And again, I want you to make money. You can't make money right now. But we have to remember, we have to like check ourselves and check our fear and check our scarcity and check our worry and check that before we start selling, and really get clear on, if I'm putting offers and selling right now, am I selling things that help my people? Am I selling things that currently solve a problem, that currently solve a need my people have? Like, that is the fundamental question to ask always. I talk with this about clients all the time, because like one of the most common things, as we're growing in business and scaling, is we want to have more offers. We want to stop trading time for money, which I get, I'm all about, but it's so easy just to want to put offers out because we think it'll make money. Y'all, that is the wrong reason to sell something. The right reason to sell something is to think about, oh, who are my people? What is my audience? What are their needs? What is their pressing need? What's going to help them? What is the best way I can help them ease a pain, solve a problem, overcome a challenge, get something they really want or desire? So just the first mistake I'm seeing right now, and I say this with so much love, I understand where it's coming from. Do the mindset work to manage your mind, to check the fear and scarcity and all the worry and concern and all the worry that this is the last chance you're ever going to be able to offer something, or all of the, it's almost like that comparisonitis of like, I'm seeing everyone put all these offers out, so I need to like put a lot of things out. Again, it's the pendulum swinging from it's not okay to sell to just swinging all the way to the other side to like, I gotta sell all the things, and really check in with, what can I sell right now? Absolutely sell, but what can I sell right now that my people actually need? What do my people actually need right now? What's actually going to help them? What's going to help them solve a problem? Get what they want and sell that, versus let me just throw a bunch of stuff out there because I'm freaking the F out. I promise you it's going to serve you more and make you more money right now. It's going to allow you to sell from a place of heart and service and integrity, and it's going to do your business a more long-term service, because we're going to get through this. I promise we're going to get through this. What we want to be mindful of is staying in integrity during this time with our business, so that after, when life returns to whatever the new normal looks like, you haven't burnt down that trust you have with your audience because you were selling things just in hopes to make a quick buck. And I get where it comes from. This isn't like calling anyone out. This is like said with so much love. I understand where it comes from, but this again is why it's so important to do that mindset work, to get that clarity and to manage your mind so you can come from this really grounded place when you're selling. Okay, y'all are very, very quiet, so let me know if that one is making sense. All right, let me just get a sip of water before we chat about the second one. The second thing here that comes up around selling, and just a mistake I'm seeing with entrepreneurs kind of across the board, and that I'm having a lot of conversations with clients around. And this, again, this is one of those things, this is applicable right now, but this has always been applicable. It's just getting heightened right now because of what the brain is doing as we are navigating this global situation as business owners. And that is really getting clear on the difference between selling with service and heart and caretaking. What I'm seeing come up a lot is, because I work with heart-centered entrepreneurs, I'm heart-centered, you're heart-centered, because we care so much, and there is a tendency to want to take care of people, and we are empathetic, and we really understand what's going on with the world. Excuse me. I think I have hiccups, y'all. What I find is happening, and this is something I spend so much time with clients around, is it's almost like the pendulum is swinging again type of an idea. There is this desire to get into caretaker mode and to sell from this place of caretaking versus selling from a place of service and heart. And I want to describe the difference, because when you're selling from a place of being a caretaker and from that really empathetic place where you're almost like taking people's things on, this is not an effective way to sell. And quite honestly, I know it feels good and it feels like you're being really heart-centered and kind to people, but more often than not, it really disempowers the people you're selling with. Hi, Miss Nala. Miss Nala is coming to possibly come join us for our live. For those of you who don't know, Miss Nala is my cat, my Bengal cat. So when we think about having a sales conversation, what I want to remind everyone here is, now and always, we are selling to people who are healthy, well-informed adults. I assume you're selling to adults if they're making the buying decisions. And the whole way I think about sales and heart-centered selling is, our whole job is to help people get really clear on what it is they want and to make a decision to move towards what it is they want. Our job is to empower someone to get clear enough on what they want, and then to make that clear decision and to help them move through whatever's coming up to make that decision. Sometimes that is to work with us or to hire us or to buy our product or service. Sometimes it's not. None of our job is to caretake people and to essentially create a codependent dynamic where we're trying to take on whatever their situation is as a way to essentially strip their empowerment or their decision-making ability by making a decision for someone else. What I find happen so often, and hi, this is something I've had to do a lot of work around myself, so I understand where it comes from. And again, this is something I'm always talking with clients about, so totally normal. And this is where managing your mind is so important when it comes to these sales conversations. But there is this tendency to have a conversation with someone, particularly right now, and to want to almost get into that empathy role and take on whatever their situation is and to feel for them. Beautiful thing, but through doing that, try to caretake and solve their situation by not selling, by not making an offer, and by not allowing yourself to open up the conversation when it comes to finances and money. So what I mean by this is, let's say you're having a sales conversation with someone and it comes to this is something they want, but they can't afford it. this is not a new thing. This is something that will always happen in business. Whether you sell a $5 product or a $5,000 product or more, that is just a normal human response that comes up all the time. It's like the easiest excuse aside from time. What happens as heart-centered entrepreneurs is we're like, oh my gosh, you can't afford it. I remember when I've been there, or I'm maybe freaking out and experiencing this myself, or I'm maybe not willing to invest, and I have my own story around money, and we put our own BS on the person we're talking to and assume it's the same for them, and we essentially say, oh, you're right. Let me not offer this thing you're saying you want to you. Let me know if this is making sense, because this is a really important concept that I want to scream from the rooftops that I think is so important when it comes to selling and when it comes to selling with heart. I think there is this fear as heart-centered entrepreneurs that if we stand in our power and if we really speak to the money and if we really have a conversation, open up a conversation around finances, that we're somehow, just by having a conversation, like stealing from people, we're taking their money, or that we're somehow going to convince them to do something they don't want to do. It's Nala. Nala says hi, y'all. Maybe she'll come over here while we're having this conversation. Let me know if this is something you've ever experienced. Again, I get it. I have absolutely been there. What I really want to offer here, and whoever's just joining, say hi. I'm in the middle of our second point here, and Miss Nala is just going to hang out in the background and join. What I want to offer is, as heart-centered entrepreneurs, the most heart-centered thing you can do is not to get into that I'm saying codependent. It's not quite codependent. That's a little dramatic, but I think that's a great way to think about it. To really step out of that caretaker role, where it's almost like we try to take on people's situations and take away their responsibility and take away their empowerment to see that they are capable to make decisions for themselves, they're capable to be resourceful, they're capable to solve problems themselves. And it's like we almost want to take it on ourselves because we somehow think that's the nicest thing we can do. Taking on other people's stuff as our own and taking that power away from them, I know it feels nice because it feels like you're easing their discomfort, but you're really robbing people of the opportunity to stand in their own power, to make their own decisions, to invest in a product or service that could help them. And so when it comes to these conversations, what I would invite you to do is really manage your mind and do the mindset work around all of what comes up around why you want to caretake people through this conversation. And I get it. It is like there can be some discomfort that comes up, and to really give yourself permission to remember that the more you're willing to sit in discomfort and the more you're willing to stand in your power and your role as a business owner and to really offer a service, the more you're being of service. If you have something that can help people solve a problem, ease a pain, or can help them get something they want, you're offering that as literally being of service, and it is selling with heart. When you allow the other person in front of you to be the healthy adult they are, to really have the space to have a conversation around what's coming up for them and to get clear on what it is they want and what they need to move through to be able to make that decision. As soon as you go into caretaker mode, you take that opportunity away from them. And just a reminder, like, you can have these conversations with people from a very heart-centered place and from a place of service, and they might still say no. Like, you're not trying to convince someone. It's just when we decide for someone else and almost decide, oh, you're right, you can't afford something, you're not capable of being resourceful, it's not safe to spend money right now, that's when we get into this place where we are disempowering others and we're also doing our business a disservice and not being of service. Let me know if that makes sense. One of the examples, maybe I should give an example here. One of the examples I give to my clients sometimes, and this comes up all the time, so again, just to normalize it, and I love that Miss Nala's joined us for this. One of the examples I give to my clients a lot is, imagine when we had our conversation about working together. Almost everyone who talks to me, something comes up around the investment piece. My one-on-one services, my coaching services are not inexpensive. They are intentionally at a high price to represent the value I deliver, and I want to work with people who are ready to step up and show up for their business at a certain level. I completely understand, and I've also been there myself, have not had the money to invest in coaching. and I always tell my clients, imagine if when we had that conversation, if when you said you couldn't afford this or you weren't able to invest in this, if I was just like, you're right, you can't. Sorry, I can't talk to you. I won't offer this to you. You're totally right. You can't have this product or service. You can't work with me. Like, how disempowering, how shitty would that make you feel? I think about working with my coach. When I first started working with her, I didn't have the money. I had to go be resourceful and find it. I cannot imagine if she had told me, sorry, you're not allowed to work with me because you can't afford this. I would have felt so, I'm going to keep saying so, I would have felt awful, and I would have never worked with her. And that's what we're all unintentionally doing when we're not willing to have these conversations, or when we decide that someone just can't afford our services and we're not willing to lean into those conversations, or we're trying to caretake people through the financial discomfort that might be coming up when they want to invest in our products or services. I mean, if that's making sense. I've used the Pretty Woman example before. For those of you, I did a live on this. I'll have to find it and drop a link to it. But has anyone seen, I'm sure you've all seen Pretty Woman. You know the scene in Pretty Woman where Julia Roberts' character goes into the store and she has money and she wants to buy something, and people take one look at her. It's like a slightly different situation, but it's kind of the same thing. The storekeepers take a look at her and they're like, they basically tell her that they don't have anything that would fit her in the store. And they're like, you can't buy here. And she leaves, and she comes back later on with the shopping bags because she goes to another store that lets her shop and spend her money there, who doesn't judge her or tell her that she can't afford what they have to offer. And she comes back into the store and she's like, big mistake. That is the big mistake. A lot of my heart-centered entrepreneurs, and I say this with so much love, but it's a big mistake that's costing you a lot of sales that y'all are making. You're either prejudging and deciding people can't afford, or when there's a normal human fear coming up around finances, especially right now, you're just deciding that's true and you can't have the conversation, and it's costing you sales, and it's costing you opportunities to be of service with your people. Let me know if that resonates, because that one feels very, very important. All right, the final mistake, so to say, that I see coming up that I want to chat about is discounting. This is kind of an always situation as well, and particularly right now. What I see, and again, this all comes back to mindset, managing your mind, y'all. Like always, and especially right now, what I see right now is, again, coming from this fear and this scarcity, this fear-city mindset, and this worry that like no one's ever going to buy again, and we're going to be homeless on the street and our businesses are going to close. I'm seeing a lot of people just wanting to like discount and suddenly like slash prices on everything. There is a time for discounting. I want to talk about the difference between strategically discounting and discounting from a place of fear or scarcity. There is a really big difference. And this is why it is so important to manage your mind. I feel like I'm such a broken record, but y'all, like now more than ever, do the mindset work and get the support to manage your mind so that you can manage your business, so that you can sell with heart and service. There is a really big difference between discounting strategically and discounting because you are scared that no one's going to buy and you think that's the only way to make sales. What I would invite you to check in with, just like baseline check-in, if you're discounting, check in with, why am I discounting right now? Is it because this makes sense as a part of my strategy, or is it because I think this is the only way people will buy or invest? Big difference. Like full transparency, I'm not discounting, y'all. Not discounting at all. Most of my clients are not discounting, and those that are, we're having conversations around how they can really strategically discount so it makes sense with their offers. So let's talk about what strategic discounting looks like versus, I think you get a clear idea of what discounting from that place of fear city is. Strategic discounting is, let's say you have a new offer. When you have a new offer, or you're building your roster, or you're filling a course, like those early bird specials, there are times in business where discounting makes a lot of strategic sense. Now and always. This is before coronavirus. This will be the case after coronavirus. This is right now. When I was filling my coaching roster, I absolutely offered some discounts on my one-on-one coaching to help people make a decision, because that's what buying is, right? To make a decision, to help them make a decision to move off the fence to work with me. I can't do that now. It doesn't make sense strategically for me. It would be wildly unfair for the clients I'm working with who are investing in my products and services. It doesn't make sense for the value I deliver. When at a certain time, that made absolute sense. If you're filling, your coaching roster, your VA services, your design work, fill in the blank. If you're filling those in and there is an opportunity because you have a new offer, you have a few spots you're filling, offering a discount strategically to help people make a decision makes a lot of sense. Us humans, we hate missing out on things. Like, we have FOMO like no other. That is how our brain is wired. It is a smart sales strategy. Oh my gosh, too many S's. It is a smart sales strategy, and it makes sense in terms of how we are psychologically wired and the psychology of buying, to strategically discount to help people move off the fence, where you're still getting paid for the value you're delivering, but you're having, a discount tied to a deadline, a discount, early bird discount, or to 2 or 3 spots you're filling. That is really smart strategy. That is very different than, oh my gosh, no one's going to buy from me. Let me just drop all my prices across the board and see who will give me money right now. That is not strategic. That is coming from a place of fear or scarcity, or worrying that you're not good enough, or worrying that there's too many people online. There's something going on mindset-wise that is driving that discounting. On paper, they might look exactly the same. Underneath it is not the same, and that is going to make all the difference, because one is strategic and makes sense as a part of what's going on in your business. One is just feeding and fueling whatever is going on in your brain that needs some support to be managed. Let me know if that difference makes sense. I think, in terms of strategic discounting, is another example. I have a client who's launching a program right now. We set up early bird pricing. That is a strategic discount. We're not lowering the value of her work. We're not lowering the price. We are very strategically making an offer to help people make a decision to get off the fence, to make that decision to enroll in her program with that early bird pricing. That is strategic discounting. What wouldn't be strategic is just like, oh my God, no one's going to buy this. Let's sell this for what doesn't make sense in terms of the value she's delivering through the program. Does that make difference? Because I think it's really, or does that make sense in terms of the difference there? I think it's really important always, but particularly right now when the brain is on like hyperdrive in the fear and the scarcity for so many people, and with just what we're seeing online, to remember when, A, manage your mind, and B, if you're seeing people do things online, you don't always know A, what their strategy is, or B, what their money mindset and their mindset is behind it. And it is so easy to price and discount based on what we see other people doing, not realizing that we're just essentially mimicking someone else's, scarcity mindset or someone else's fear, or we just don't know, strategically how it plays into their business. Great reminder to get your eyes back on your paper and to manage your mind, to get really clear on what makes sense for you in your business. And then just kind of as a general thing here when it comes to selling, and just this general I say mistake very loosely and kindly, that I'm seeing online is just this want to just like, I'm just going to slash prices everywhere. Y'all, please, for the sake of our industry, for the sake of our online industry, we are so blessed and lucky right now to be able to still have work and jobs and sell, and our businesses can thrive during this time. I quite honestly think during this time, a lot of online entrepreneurs are really going to be able to not just get by, but like absolutely thrive and do remarkably during this time. But for that to be true, we have to hold the integrity of the value of our work and price accordingly, and not just slash prices. As soon as everyone starts slashing prices, it is such a race to the bottom. Like, you're never going to win that race, because there's always going to be someone who has more runway that they can keep slashing prices to the bottom, or like trying to have a loss leader offer to race to the bottom. Please, like, for the sake of our industry, and just like, that's just not smart business now or ever. In terms of, absolutely, if it makes sense strategically to discount, or if it makes sense, we've talked about this before in some of the trainings I've done, if it makes sense to have a lower priced offer as a part of your customer journey to help people put some skin in the game, to build some trust with them, that absolutely makes sense. And to have that low ticket offer for that reason, that is very, very different. That is very strategic. That comes from a very clear, grounded business mind that has been managed, that's making strategic choices versus pricing things or discounting things from this like, like I'm just so worried no one's going to buy ever again place. Really, really different. So my invitation to all of you, I'm going to say this for like the umpteenth time, manage your mind, manage the fear and scarcity that is coming up, get your eyes back on your own paper, and really get clear on, pricing and discounting to ensure you're discounting and selling things at a price point from that strategic place, from that place of this is of service, this is what the value I'm delivering is, this is what makes sense from a place of service and what makes sense in my business model, what makes sense in my strategy that I'm applying, versus this is just because I'm so scared no one will ever buy again, and I'm just worried if I don't price it at this or discount it at this that I won't make any money. Don't be like that's like the opposite of like the hoarding mentality, like the people with the toilet paper in the window across the hall from you. So really, really important. I hope those mistakes, so to say, when I say mistakes with love, I hope those are really insightful for you. And just a reminder as we're recapping here, everything we talked about today is absolutely applicable right now. It is very much what's relevant in our online spaces. We're all navigating coronavirus and just what that's doing to the industry and for entrepreneurs. And these are all also applicable, like they were applicable a month ago, and they're going to be applicable a year from now. And so just a really great place to check in. I think they're just coming up more now for everyone because our brain is, our mindset needs, it's just like new things are being thrown at us, new fears, new insecurities, new worries. And that has us, have these reactions or the pendulum swing versus, when we can do the mindset work to manage our mind and we're coming from a grounded, clear place, that's when we can be more responsive and adaptive in our business. And I think that's just why it's coming up more, but these are absolutely principles that apply. And just that reminder as you're navigating your mind and navigating your business right now. As a whole, the principles of business don't change all that much right now. The details in your business might change, and your clients' needs might change. The way you deliver a product or service because of what's going on might change. Your messaging or specifically what your people need might be changing, but the general foundational principles of business don't change all that much right now. And I think you can take some solace in that when you're making decisions, and just that kind of reminder. It's like, just keep coming back to what are the basics, what are the foundational principles for business, for selling, so that you can really see, if I'm kind of trying to do stuff that doesn't make sense with those foundational principles, it's probably because my brain is a little churned up right now. Normal, that's okay, but let me just go navigate what my brain is handing me so that I can then come back to my business from this grounded place and apply these basic foundational principles to business and selling. I hope that is helpful for all of you. And a reminder for all of you who do want support with navigating your mind, managing your business, showing up and selling from a place of heart and service now and always, because again, these principles don't change, so that you can make money doing what you love now and always, so you can build, grow, and scale a profitable business and book clients right now and always. That is what I do. That is what I'm great at doing. That's what I support my clients with. My clients get incredible results. They do everything from, book that first paying client ever to, I literally have a client who hit 100K in sales for the first time in the last week during coronavirus. I have clients who are booking more clients than ever right now, clients who are getting fully booked right now, launching a course as we talked about, and I have clients who are just starting out in business. We run the gamut, and what I'll say is that's happening right now during coronavirus. Clients who are hitting the best months they've ever had. And always, if you would love that kind of support, I will make sure I drop a link. I work with clients one-on-one. I have some one-on-one spots opening up in April and May. And then I'm also opening up a new opportunity for all of you, because I'm just excited about a new way with working with all of you, which is a Money Makers coaching partnership, 1-on-2 coaching, me privately coaching you and 2 other humans, you and your new business bestie. What this does for you is it gives you all the benefits of my one-on-one coaching program at half the cost, because you and your coaching partner, you share everything, meaning you also share the investment point. So it's a great way to get the benefits of private coaching, of that one-on-one attention, of all the benefits of my work without the full price tag that my one-on-one clients are investing in. And, if you just want that really personalized deep dive approach, I have some of those one-on-one spots opening up as well. For the one-on-two Moneymakers coaching partnership, if that is you, if that sounds like something you're like, that sounds really interesting, that could be a really cool way to work with someone, I think it's going to be pretty effing amazing. I had 4 spots available. I have 1 spot available left in April. We'll be starting that partnership the middle of April. I am looking to pair someone up, if it is really, 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 really important here, I'm looking to pair someone up with another coach. She's a spiritual coach. She's an incredible human. She is coachable. She is positive. She's very grounded. She's got a really beautiful mix of the practical and the, that grounded, practical, creative mindset, along with more of the spiritual side to things. She's in the place of her business where she's clear on her niche. She's, clear on her offer. She's clear on the work she's doing. She's starting to book her first few clients. If that sounds like someone, if that sounds like where you're at in business, and that sounds like someone that would be a really good energetic match for you in terms of that coaching opportunity, I'll make sure I drop a link. Let's book a call and chat, because I want to find the right partner for her. And I'm really looking forward to serving you in this new container of 1 to 2 coaching at half the cost. I know it's going to be absolutely incredible. So I'll drop links for all of that. And then if you have any additional questions watching on the replay, drop them below, or reflections, drop them below for me. I will make sure I'm on here to answer anything. And then I'll also be on later this week to answer to some of your general questions from the feed in the group. I love you all. Take care of yourself. Keep showing up, keep selling, and just check in to make sure you're checking your brain so that you can show up and sell from that place of service and heart in your business, really strategically in a way that serves your business. All right. See you later. Bye, love.